Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Rothkoff, managing attorney of Rothkoff Law Group, an elder care law firm serving seniors and their caregivers both in southeastern Pennsylvania as well as south and central New Jersey. And we are privileged to have on another edition of Rothkoff Law Group's Who's Who of Elder Care Advocacy in the Philadelphia metro region, Kathy Purcell, who's owner and director of Music Therapy Associates. Kathy, welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you, and I've gotten to know what you and what Music Therapy Associates does over the past couple of years. You have presented at our annual Elder Care Symposium. That was a big hit. So I thank you for your valuable time today. So let's talk about a little bit about, I guess, about music therapy, and then we'll get a little more into what specifically what Music Therapy Associates is all about. You are a certified music therapist. Did I say that correctly?
A board certified music therapist.
Okay. But some people may not know what that actually entails and what rights and privileges that brings. So can you talk about what a certified music therapist actually does, and what's the purpose of the certification and what type of individuals you work with?
Sure. So to be a board certified music therapist, it's not just somebody down the street that plays guitar and sings. It's an actual degree program. There's a bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree available in music therapy. You basically have to get at least a bachelor's degree and then complete a 6 to 9 month internship with at least 1,200 clinical hours of music therapy. And then you sit for a national board exam in order to become a board certified music therapist. And it's important that people that are looking for a music therapist make sure that the person has those credentials, because it means that they have the training and skills to handle a variety of situations with all different kinds of clients and handle things professionally in using music as a tool to work on things that aren't specifically music related.
So let's talk a little bit about Music Therapy Associates. Really, what was your impetus in founding your company? Because you've been in existence for, I think, almost a little over 3 decades now, right?
I mean, 31 years actually.
God bless you, and still going strong. So that's fantastic. So what was the impetus to start this company, and was it based upon a personal experience you had? Let's talk about what your thought process was there.
Sure. So I was very young when I started Music Therapy Associates.
You're still young.
Well, I started it because I didn't want to have a boss other than myself. And I really wanted to be able to design things to help people of all different ages and abilities and needs through music therapy. And I felt like that was the best way to make that happen. So it started with just me as the only associate, and then I hired other music therapists, board certified music therapists, to work with us to help provide individual and group services to people. And we've just kind of been growing over the past 31 years. Now we have 28 board certified music therapists, and we expanded 3 years ago to add art therapy. And then last year, for our 30th anniversary, we umbrellaed under a new company called Therapeutic Arts Group, which I'm the director of as well, which allows us to bring and market both music and art therapy.
So let's talk. I mean, there's well-documented scholarly publication studies about the benefits of both music as well as art therapy. For individuals with dementia, listening to certain music or music maybe possibly of the time that they grew up really can be beneficial in many different ways. Can you talk about some of the benefits of music therapy and then art therapy as well for seniors and those with specific cognitive impairments?
Sure. So music is processed in the entire brain. So that's what makes it so amazing. that you can tap into people's memories and you can work on different things with communication, even if the general communication centers of the brain are damaged through dementia or a stroke or an accident or injury. You can still access the brain through different areas using music. And art is very similar to that as well. And we use music in different ways. So individuals might be singing, playing music, listening to music, working with a music therapist to rewrite or write a song. And there's just so many different opportunities. We can help people to relax using music. We can also help energize them. So you may know some seniors that tend to be very movement uh, oriented. They're constantly in motion. So we can use music to help them calm down and relax and feel more safe and secure in their space. And then there's other folks that you just have difficulty getting them to move and exercise, and you have to get moving. So we can use music to help motivate them and get them, the physical exercise that they need as well.
Now, what specific types of individuals do you work with? Do you work in a group setting? Do you work with individuals? Kind of give us the type of clientele that you work with on a daily basis.
Sure. So because we have so many therapists and so many clients, we do have clients and therapists that work with people of all different ages and abilities. And specifically for our seniors, we do work with folks in their own home, either physically or virtually. And that can be an individual session with just them, or we can work with their caregivers as well. And sometimes depending on the situation, we can assign like homework for them, where we work with the caregiver and say like, hey, here's your homework to do. Use this kind of music at these specific times to work on a specific situation. So if you have people that don't want to eat, we can work to design a music playlist for them that can encourage them to eat. If you have folks that have difficulty with combative behavior, we can help design, write, choose music for them that can help them to feel more secure and safe and oriented so they're less combative with the care that they need. So we're just designing things for people depending on what their specific needs are.
And I'm assuming at this point, given over the past year, most, if not all, of your therapy sessions are virtual?
Yes, so it's been particularly difficult during the pandemic because, as you know, older adult communities have been hit the hardest with closures and the virus and so forth. So many of our folks have put services on hold, but a lot of them have transitioned into having virtual services. And some of that has changed from group programming where the community would get, a bunch of folks together to have sessions in person to now they can't even have them in a group, even with us virtually. So some of the communities have done some streaming service through their community where we're coming in virtually, but we're able to interact with people in their rooms all at one time. And then some of them were doing, some places have gotten a big cart with a screen on it and been able to have us be virtual. And then they move the cart from room to room or area to area for us to work individually or in small groups with people that need the music therapy.
How are you finding the experience, at least from your end as the provider, compared to an in-person experience? Obviously, the benefit is your reach is much larger in a virtual setting. So yeah. Can you describe that experience and what do you need to do to make it really more interactive? Because that's always obviously the most difficult part virtually.
It is. Well, prior to the pandemic, if you'd asked me how I felt about virtual music therapy services, I would have said absolutely not. But now that we've been forced to try this, we've learned a lot about different ways to engage our folks with that and engage their caregivers with them. And it does require a little bit more on the other end of the screen for the person to assist with. Can you hand them the instrument? Because we can't necessarily do that over the screen, of course. Or work with folks to come up with what can they use if they don't have instruments or manipulatives like a scarf or something to dance with. So we're working with caregivers and family members to say, let's look around your home, let's see what we can use for music therapy to help your person be more engaged. So we get people up dancing, and even if, well, we're dancing on our side, they're dancing on their side. So that's helping with the engagement there. And I have found it to be much more beneficial than I ever thought it would have been. And I'm really proud of a lot of folks for trying this service virtually. And I think a lot of people have been very surprised, and pleasantly so, that their loved one has really benefited from this connection. And sometimes it's the only connection that they are getting in terms of other services through the pandemic because they are so isolated.
What has been the response, to providers? I mean, obviously, one of the roles of nursing homes, assisted livings, even independent living communities, especially with their residents in quarantine or lockdown, however you want to describe it, over the past year, more or less, have they been receptive to you to scheduling? Because obviously, both music and art therapy is certainly an intellectual activity that would give some people comfort and something to do if nothing else.
Absolutely. Well, there have been times where it's been very difficult for the communities and even for individuals in their own homes to have services because there's so much else going on. A lot of the older adult communities have had difficulty with staffing, and finding time for a staff member to set up and assist with music therapy or art therapy has been a challenge for them as well. But many of the individuals and communities that have made it a priority to get some scheduled music and art therapy have really seen the benefits of that to their individuals and to their overall quality of care and benefit to the individuals. Some of them have actually done some sessions where we virtually brought in a family member along with the individual, along with the therapist. So there's like 3 of us on the screen. And that's really been a comfort to many people that they can actually sing the songs or do the art project and things with their family member, even though they couldn't be there with them in person.
I'm just trying to think, and like, if I was king of the world, things would be different, but I'm not owner of an independent living, assisted living, or nursing home. But at this point, going forward, if I was building an assisted living or a nursing home, so you just all open walls, you can do it just an open canvas, I would want to make sure that I have proper wiring for, in other words, that's hooked into the cable or just everyone has an Apple TV or something in their room that you can hook into just a common area, and then I can have Kathy Purcell on live on Apple TV, in a virtual format in everyone's room. To me, that's so simple to do.
Yeah.
I mean, with, of course, new construction going on, maybe not as simple to open walls and fix all the wiring, but with any new location, especially after this pandemic and the quarantine, I would want to make sure like I can do this virtual program and have Kathy and her team do weekly programming, whether music therapy, whether art therapy. I mean, you can go on with all the different types of entertainment and therapeutic interventions, but to me, that's a no-brainer. You just need some wiring to accomplish that and some little technology. Can't be too expensive to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, there were initially some challenges with folks not having devices to be able to use virtually, not having secure internet connections. So some folks were trying to work on a Wi-Fi connection that may not be so stable.
But I'm just doing it through the TV in everyone's room.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I mean.
That's the way to do it.
And some of the nicer ones, there's already a flat screen on the wall, like hospitals, but even in an assisted living or nursing home, just put a flat screen on the wall and it's all wired up. You just need to press a button. So that's my thought. So
that would be perfect.
So yeah, I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, but again, that's why I don't operate nursing homes. So what do you give me the 5-year plan for music therapy associates? So where do you want to take this? You already mentioned that you you've been incorporating art and have a separate company, which is fantastic. But where do you see yourself in the company 5 years from now? Where do you want this to go? I know you've been in operation 31 years, so you've come a long way and you've done a hell of a lot, and God bless you for that. But where do you see this company going? And what I mean by that specifically, where do you see yourself as a provider to assist in as part of the so-called continuum of long-term care? Where do you see yourself in that? And what do you see yourself as a role 5 years from now? Where would you like to be situated within that
Sure.
space?
So we would love to continue providing the same kind of services we're doing now, only helping more and more individuals and gaining more therapists to be able to help more people as we move forward. We are in the process of opening a new building for music and art therapy. It is located here in Whitehall, Pennsylvania, which is north of Allentown. So not necessarily thinking the folks in the Philly area are necessarily going to be coming up here, but it will help with housing, some of our equipment and doing some services here and doing virtual services from that location as well. We do hope that music therapy and art therapy becomes more and more recognized as the beneficial services that they are through many of the older adult communities and for families themselves as a way to have services in their own homes or prior to, entering an older adult community or other care facility. And we hope to just be able to expand, and continue the good work that we've been doing for even more and more folks. There's also some license issues with the state of Pennsylvania that unfortunately music therapy is not a licensed profession in the state of PA at this time. So we have been working for many years to pass legislation to license music therapists. So that's something I've been working pretty hard with the music therapists and advocacy groups in PA. We got a little bit stalled with the COVID thing. So there was obviously other legislation that came into play that was much more understandably important, but we're hoping to pick up that ball and run with it again within the next year or so to finalize getting music therapy as a licensed profession in PA.
Fantastic. Good for you. So in a minute or so we have left, Kathy, if a organization, be it a church, synagogue, whether or obviously some form of an adult community long-term care setting wants to contact you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you, and where can they find out more information about Music Therapy Associates?
Sure. So they can call the phone number 610-740-9890. And that covers Therapeutic Arts Group, which incorporates both Music Therapy Associates and Art Therapy Associates. So we can answer any of your questions. You can also go to therapeutic.artsgroup.com or musictherapyassociates.com. And we do have Facebook pages as well.
Whether social media, old-fashioned phone, or your website. And your website, once again, is what?
musictherapyassociates.com or therapeuticartsgroup.com.
Okay. Well, Kathy, thank you. Time goes fast. So thank you so much for your time today. It was great learning more about music and art therapy and the benefits of music and art therapy and your organization. So thank you for your time. Continue success and best of luck in the future.
Thank you. And thanks for all you're doing to help seniors in your area as well. Thank you.
Well, we all have to play our part. We all are in the same team together. So we just have a different position to play, but it's all good in the end. All right. Thank you again.
Take care.